Okay, so for kindergarten, I observed Miss Sales, and I observed her at Central Elementary. I observed K through fourth as well as gifted and talented at Central Elementary. And then I observed fifth grade math and fifth grade special ed at Cabot Middle School South. So for kindergarten, I observed Miss Hales, and I thought that I wanted to teach first grade. So going in there, I was like, okay, like it's pretty close to first grade. It'll be the same, right? No, not at all. And the teacher did a very good job at like reeling the students back in, but the structure in that classroom was like non-existent. And I don't think that that was the teacher's fault. I think that the students were just, I mean, they're about to get out for break, for Christmas break, and they're excited, and they're also kindergartners, and it was in the morning, and there was a new person in there, and they were just, it was crazy. So there was that. And for first grade, like I said, I thought I wanted to be a first grade teacher. So I was excited in going in there, and I observed Miss Tarrant at Central Elementary. But things just weren't like they were whenever I was observing first grade in high school. The kids are much more mean. They don't get along as well. I think that they do anything to start drama or to make each other mad, and the focus is not the classwork. I liked the way that Miss Tarrant reassured the students. Like if they got something wrong, she was like, "It's okay. You can just try again, and this is how you fix it, and then bring it up to me, and we'll work on it together." Blah blah blah, things like that. So she was very reassuring, and she also had a very like gentle voice, but the students knew not to like mess with her or she would snap, kind of thing. So the structure in that classroom was a little bit better, but it wasn't as well as I remembered it to be. For second grade, I observed Miss Palmer, and they were actually doing a science experiment before Thanksgiving break got out. They were trying all different kinds of things with cranberries in them. And it was like cranberry sauce, cranberry cookies. I think they called it like a fresh cranberry, and then dried cranberries. And they had to make a table. This was a science class. So they had to make a table to see their hypothesis, whether they thought they would like it or not, and then whether they did like it or not. And then they did a line graph of the results, whether they thought they would like it, and if they did or did not. And the kids were really excited about that. They were excited to try the new foods, and they were excited to see their partner's reaction, and they were very like excited but in a calm way. Like they knew that they had to behave in order to do the experiment. So they got to be excited, but they also knew that they had to calm down a little bit. So then I did third grade with Miss Turner, and they were reading a book that day. So they got to read independently, and then they went and wrote about what they read in their book of choice, of course. And then they came to the carpet and they started a new book together. And man, those kids were so excited about that book. It was, I can't remember what it is. It was about this little rabbit, and it was a toy, but they didn't know it was a toy. And they were so excited because she would stop and ask them questions, and they would say, "Oh, well, I think this and I think that." They were so excited. And she let them break up into two groups, like not two groups, two people in one group, and talk about, "Oh, well, if this happens, what do you think will happen after that?" And it was very, I think, like good for their imagination to be able to like th- think what they thought would happen next and be able to share that with their friends. So I really enjoyed that class. That was good. Fourth grade, I got to say, it was probably my favorite. I observed Miss Coyle at Central, and they got to pretend that each child had $1 million. They just won the lottery and they had $1 million, and they're writing this paper about it, but they started brainstorming all these ideas, and it really just opened my eyes to whenever they went around the room and they were sharing what they would do with their $1,000,000, this little girl said, I would give it to my grandma because my mom is in jail and we can't get food stamps anymore. And that literally broke my heart. Like, I almost started crying right there. And the teacher, like, walked over there to her in front of everyone, and she, like, put her arm around her, and she gave her a hug, and she was like, I'm so sorry that you have to go through that, and if you need me, if I can help you do anything, just let me know, and things like that. And the students referred to the teacher as Mama Bear, and she referred to her kids as her baby bears, because that's just the kind of relationship that she has with them. And I thought that was so special. And if I do decide to be a teacher later on, I think that 4th grade will probably be my first choice, which is crazy to me because I would have never even imagined being a 4th grade teacher before. But now that I've actually been in the 4th grade classroom, it kind of opened my eyes to the kids are more mature, they're more calm, and they're old enough to have that relationship with the students, and the teachers have this relationship that maybe they wouldn't understand in 1st grade. So that was good. 5th grade, I observed Miss Deaver at Cabot Middle School South. She was a math teacher, and whenever I got in there, she had already passed out their papers. So they were doing converting numbers from scientific notation to standard form, and then vice versa. The kids really understood it, and they were excited whenever they got an answer right. And if they didn't understand it, the teacher really would go over to them, and she would kneel beside their desk, and she would talk to them about why they didn't understand it, and maybe it was because they were playing. And so she told them, like, okay, you need to get it together, like, you are smarter than this. So I think that was really special that she was able to call them out in a loving way. And then I observed Miss Carpenter's 5th grade special ed class, and there was this one boy in there, he had autism, and they were supposed to be writing a book about, not a book, they were supposed to be doing research and writing a paper about a jazz musician, and the only way they could get him to write was if they let him do it over a football player. And I thought that was really special too, because most teachers and administrators aren't willing to really bend the curriculum. They would have just given him 0 or exempted him from the project or something, but they allowed him to do it over something that he could connect with. He was wearing this Green Bay Packers hoodie and a Green Bay Packers backpack and a Green Bay Packers toboggan thing, and that was something that the teacher could really connect with him about if he was misbehaving or going through a kind of an episode where he just didn't want anyone touching him, and he didn't want to learn, he didn't want to do anything he didn't want to do, and nobody was going to make him. If you started talking about football, you could kind of reel him in, and I thought that was pretty cool that the teacher took the time to realize that football was something that they could connect about. They could connect with each other about. And lastly, I observed Mr. West. He was a gifted and talented teacher, and there was only about 6 or 7 kids in there at a time, and some kids would come in and then they would leave, and whenever they went back to their classroom, they would say, okay, so-and-so, it's your turn. Then they would come to gifted and talented. And I thought that was cool, because whenever I was younger and I went to Central Elementary and we did gifted and talented, we just went in big groups, and we didn't get that one-on-one special time with the teacher. And he was very loving, understanding, and he called the children sweetheart, and he's super funny. So the kids really think he is just a hoot, and they respect him, and they think that he is their friend, but in a way that's not inappropriate. They kind of rely on him to be their pick-me-up. If they're having a bad day, they go to GT and it gets better. So I saw one little girl, she was having a bad day and she was crying, and she came in there and she got her Chromebook and started doing her little assignment, and he came over there and got on his knees and he was like, what's wrong, so-and-so? Do you want to talk? And so they went over there to the side and they had a little conversation, and they came back and she did her work and she was happy and she left in a good mood, and they high-fived and it was good. So I think it's very special for children and students to have that kind of a bond. So I enjoyed that. That's all.